Hello dear students, I welcome you all in today's discussion. Today we will be having a small brief discussion related to budget. Do you have a basic understanding related to budget? What is budget, when it was introduced, who presents the budget and all those things, right? Now let me give you a brief introduction that the Indian Constitution, the article number 112 of Indian Constitution basically talks about budget, but it do not use the term budget, it instead mentions the term annual financial statement. So annual financial statement actually means a budget. Okay? World में पहली बार the budget was introduced in the year 1733 in Britain by Robert Walpole. The term budget is basically derived from the French term bourget, which means a small bag. ठीक? Now further discussion, in India the first budget was introduced in the year 1860 by James Wilson. Okay? Now in independent India the first budget was introduced by R.K. Sangmukhan Chetty, whereas in Republic India in the year 1950 the first budget was introduced by John Mathai. Now Jawaharlal Nehru is actually the first Prime Minister with the after the resignation of T.T. Krishnamachari in the year 1957. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, who he assumed the office of Finance Minister as well, and he is basically the first Prime Minister to introduce the budget. And it was in the same year at the same time when he introduced the concept of gift tax as well, right? Now, in India, Morarji Desai is actually the person to present the budget for the maximum time, that is for 10 times he have presented. Then for the second number we have Nirmala Sitharaman, she has presented the budget for 8 times till now. Now Indira Gandhi is basically the first woman to present the budget, and she presented as a finance minister in the year 1970. Remember, at this time she was the prime minister as well as the finance minister, right? She was holding this particular portfolio as well, and she has become the first woman to present the budget in the year 1970. Now, if you look at the history related to the rail budget, right from the 1860, the rail budget was introduced with the general budget, right? It was a part of the general budget. It was introduced as a part of the general budget. But in the year 1920, Ackworth committee recommended for the separation of rail budget from the general budget, and it was done in the year 1924. So since 1924, then it was separated. Now later in the year 2017, now these two budgets were again merged. That means now since the year 2017, the railway budget started to come or to be presented in collaboration or as a part of the union budget. So union budget mein hi finance minister, he makes the presentation of the railway budget as well. So now we do not have the rail budget as a separate budget. Okay. Now with respect to the timing of the presentation of budget, do you know earlier the budget, the union budget was presented on 28th or 29th of Feb, the last day of Feb. This was done till the year 2016. But since 2017, we shifted this date to 1st of Feb, and now the budget is presented on 1st of Feb every year, right? Till 2016, it was on 28th or 29th of Feb. Now with respect to time, until 1998, the budget used to be presented at 5 p.m. in the evening, right? 5 p.m. or 5 o'clock in the evening. But since 1999, we shifted this time to 11 a.m. and since 1999, we present the budget, or finance minister presents the budget at 11 a.m. in the morning. Okay. So this information. Now, if we talk about the digital budget, we all know that in the year 2021, the first digital budget was introduced, and the Hindi version, it was introduced in the year 1955-56 on the recommendation of C.D. Deshmukh. C.D. Deshmukh, he is the first Indian governor of Reserve Bank of India, right? Then, if we have a discussion something in brief with respect to the latest budget, that is the budget of 25-26, we know that the theme of this budget was Sabka Vikas, means the development of all, and the goal of this budget was a developed India by 2047. the principle, the guiding principle of this budget was inclusion, means inclusive development. We want every section of the society to be a part of the development process and the benefit of the development to be distributed among all the sections of the society. Sabka saath, sabka vikas. ठीक है जी? Now, if you look at this particular budget, the total receipt of the budget was 34.96 lakh crore, whereas the total expenditure was the total expenditure what is mentioned is 50.65 lakh crore, right? The fiscal deficit is somewhere approximately 4.4% of the total GDP. This is nothing. What is fiscal deficit? It actually indicates the borrowing of the government, what the government has borrowed. Okay? So it actually indicates the borrowing of the government. Of course, when expenditure is more than the receipt, we need to borrow something from the market. We actually borrow of the total revenue that the government actually receives. Somewhere 24% of the money is in the form of borrowings. Now we'll have a look at this thing. If you look at the revenue, how from where the revenue comes to the government, from where the revenue government receives, and where does it goes. Now, from where do the government or from where does the government receive the maximum amount? Now, you will see income tax contributes to 22% okay, of the total revenue. 22% of the money comes from the income tax. And this is the highest source of revenue. After this, we have GST, which contributes to 18%, and corporate 17%. Corporate taxes 17% of the revenue government collect करता है. Now, union excise duty की बात करें तो 7% of the money comes from this particular source, and the non-tax receipt is somewhere 9%. Okay. Now, ये सबसे पूरा amount fulfill होता नहीं है. You have to borrow a large amount from the market as well. So you will see the borrowings of the government is somewhere 24%. तो borrowings ही actually सबसे ज़्यादा है, but borrowing को अगर आप साइड कर देंगे तो major source अगर देखा जाए तो इसमें है income tax, then GST, then corporate tax, then union excise duty, and then non-tax receipt. Now remember, आपके एग्जाम में मेनली जो आपको स्टार्टिंग 1-2 पता होना चाहिए, ये पूछा जाएगा कि विच इज़ द मैक्सिमम और विच इज़ द लार्जेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ रेवेन्यू फॉर द गवर्नमेंट, और व्हाट इज़ द लार्जेस्ट segment where government makes the expenditure. ठीक है? So ये आपको 1-2 चीज़ पता होना चाहिए. From where does the money comes? The top 1 or 2 sources. इनकम टैक्स सबसे नंबर 1 पे है, जीएसटी नंबर 2 है, कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स नंबर 3 पे है. सिमिलरली कहाँ पर पैसा खर्च होता है, इसमें बहुत सारा है, बट ऑफ कोर्स यू नीड नॉट टू मेमोराइज एवरीथिंग, यू जस्ट नीड टू नो टॉप 1 or 2 thing where the government makes the largest expenditure. The state shares of tax, अगर if you will see, it is 22%, whereas in interest payment government का 20% होता है. ये second highest सेगमेंट है जहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट खर्चा करती है. सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम्स की अगर बात करें तो इसमें 16% ऑफ खर्चा यानी एक्सपेंडिचर होता है. ठीक है. सो दीज आर द मेजर सोर्सेज जहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट से इनकम होता है, एंड दीज आर द मेजर डेस्टिनेशन जहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट मैक्सिमम एक्सपेंडिचर करती है. एंड दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू मेमोराइज द इंफॉर्मेशन रिलेटेड टू बजट. ये एक ब्रीफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग था बजट से रिलेटेड कुछ बेसिक फैक्ट्स. वैसे हम इकोनॉमिक्स के क्लास में बजट के बारे में और भी डिटेल में समझते हैं, बट आई होप कि ये जो फैक्चुअल इन्फॉर्मेशन यहाँ पर हमने डिस्कस किया ये आपके लिए हेल्पफुल रहा होगा. इफ देयर इज एनी डाउट, एनी क्वेरी, यू कैन राइट इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. वी विल गेट बैक टू यू. टिल देन, गुड बाय, टेक केयर, थैंक यू.